All right, guys, this is Mongolian Mindset, and today we got Henli Shorland with us, aka Jim Carrey. Uh, we're gonna be interviewing him inside the mind of an ENTP. There's no one that we want to do besides Henley because I think he captures the essence of what an ENTP is and when an ENTP is happy. Okay, so we're gonna be exploring his mind today, asking him questions that everybody wants to hear. Henley, man, can you introduce yourself? Like no one has heard of you before.
My name is Henley, and when I was younger, I went on a spiritual journey to find myself and figure out why I'm so different than everyone else. And then I ran into Mercer Server, and I figured out quite quickly I'm an ENTP, though I juggled between a few different types because I couldn't help but explore the possibilities. Um, I aspire to be many, many different things that are all creative, including comedian, actor, writer, musician. I mean, the list goes on.
Mhm.
And I don't know how much of that has to do with being an ENTP or being maybe the creative subtype. I don't know.
Okay. So can you explore to us because I think a lot of people want to hear the difference between your version of NE and SE because a lot of people are having trouble looking at the difference between ESTP and the ENTP. Can you give us any insights into like
Actually, I do have a very, very good answer for this. Would it be okay
go for it.
if I quickly break down? Oh shit, I want to just. Is it okay if I break down like what makes me like any, and then I sort of bleed it into NISINSE, and then it's
Go
all
for
like,
it. Go for
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay, so the whole point of my life is to how do I explain this? Okay, so all the 16 types, the way I look at it is that all of them are different philosophies about the world. And
Yeah.
I was born thinking that the philosophy of the ENTP is the best. It is not that I'm incapable of using SE or SI or whatever. It's just that since I so strongly prefer looking at other ideas of things, I seldom notice the more concrete details of things. Okay. Let's suppose, for example, someone told me I went to the gas station this morning and I filled up my car. Okay, I don't care. This is not important to me. This does not add anything to my life. This does not, this doesn't change anything for me. Okay. Now, if they said I filled up my gas this morning and I saw an elephant on the side and it was blowing water on the cars to clean their windshields, and it's a much more efficient way to do that. Now that's interesting. But I don't care about it because I care about their experience. I care about it because I care about the new information that they've given me. Okay, the novelty, if you will. And now I have a new way of approaching the world that I didn't have before. So if over the course of time you accumulate enough of these new perspectives on ways you can do things in every aspect of your life, your philosophy, your emotions, your practicality, everything, then in consequence, you are going to be, in my opinion, better at using SE than an SE DOM at a certain point, if you know what you're doing.
Mhm.
That's how I look at it. SE DOMs, they are limited to what's going on around them. So that doesn't allow them to build the connections between the different things that you can use to synthesize when you approach new situations. I think that NA is the core of adaptability.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 So yeah, that was a lot. So when you are thinking about any, right? Because that's your God function. That's what I want to call you God. What is some of the stories that it tells you? You know, like what's some of the woo woo? We want to hear the woo woo. Like, is it like something's always better? Like, we can't
That's
be
a good question.
limited.
That's
Don't
a good
take more
question.
freedom. What is it? What's like some of the uncomfortable things that you don't even think about challenging that the NE has told you?
Well, subliminally, you will operate with the belief that, yes, there's always something better, but you don't even really notice yourself feeling that way. Where it really comes from, though, is this addiction to mystery. Throughout my life, I've had so many experiences that left me like, you know what I mean? Like it's like how could this have happened to me? It's so amazing, you know? Okay, so that's the SI component. So then where the NE comes in is, well, hang on, if I experience that, God knows what other things there are in the world that I'm not even aware of that could make my life this much better because those experiences exalted me so much. So that's the rationale for me to use NE constantly is there are so many ways of looking at things that you have never ever heard of before. And it's like infinite, right? Because it's an extroverted function. Like you can keep looking and looking and looking, and you're never going to run out ever. And why this matters is because once you figure out like the best of the best ways of looking at things, it sort of becomes NI. It sort of becomes a bunch of other functions, I guess, as well. We can get into that later. And it makes the quality of your life that much better for the rest of your future. Whereas if you stick to SI for the rest of your existence, if you stick to a boring job, a boring mindset, a boring day-to-day lifestyle, etc., then you are going to be stuck at a certain level of the quality of your existence.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And
I
can
think it's
you?
very logical, but if you don't agree with me, guys, you can please comment and tell me why I'm wrong.
No, I agree. It's like you just plateau, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask a question. What is death for an ENTP? What would be something that you would consider to be like I can't stand this. Like, don't put me here. Don't make me do this. Like, what is that to you?
I don't know if this is just me or this is ENTPs in general, but SI inferior hits harder than anyone can ever imagine. Like, if you, when I experience something that's divine and amazing, I could probably open up a book and start writing about that experience. And by the end of my life, I still wouldn't be done like explaining just how amazing that experience is. It's the same with very, very painful and bad experiences. Like you will never understand the pain, the agony. You know what I mean? And if you dare to come into my life and be careless enough to give me that bad experience. I don't care how long it's going to take me. I don't care what I have to do. I don't care what sacrifices I have to make. I am going to find you and I'm going to hurt you and I'm going to hurt your family. Like, like you cannot give me a bad experience. Okay. You cannot, and part of what makes an experience bad for an ENTP is not letting us be able to do what we want
Freedom.
because
Freedom.
we want things, and if you don't let us do what we want, then that inhibits us from having the good experience.
Yeah. So like that's what I was telling John Bodine. He was thinking that the INJs are people that need freedom the most, and I'm like, no, no,
No,
no. It's
no.
actually the SE DOMs and the any DOMs because they need freedom at all point in times to be able to chase possibilities or just to interact with the world. And if you kind of restrict on that, then they're gonna come at you. For I think NI DOMs, it's like okay, they'll restrict themselves as long as they can chase their vision, right? They can find a way to somehow restrict themselves to somewhat follow the vision because that's just how it is. So there's some trade-offs to things, but an ENTP is always like, yo, like I'm here right now, but there's a million things I could be doing, or like this just came up and you got me stuck here, like. So there's no other types that I think need ultimate freedom more than those two types. Um, but Henley, can you get into? I think a lot of people want to explore SE Demon. Because I have noticed, and this is just something I've noticed in typing fictional characters. If I find a character that is an Avenger, it's usually an ENTP every time, right? It goes back to what you said with the SI inferior, like they will hold on to something and harbor it until like they make other people suffer for what has happened to them. I think a great case of that is Dobby from My Hero Academia. That man is living, breathing SC Demon, right? Um, so can
I,
you explore that?
yes, I actually have thought of quite an intelligent response to that while I was thinking about this video the last couple of days. I had a philosophical discovery, I guess, over the past month, which is that when people give you a hard time over things, it's actually because they love you. It's not actually because they just if they are completely indifferent to you, they'll move on. And it's just like, all right, you can live your life and do whatever. With me, if someone comes and acts in a way that's ignorant to me and my wants and my experiences, um, and imposes it on me in a way where I can't be comfortable anymore, I see, and mind you, this is if I have already tried to use all my ego functions. I've already tried to explain to them why what they're doing is wrong. I've already given them new alternatives. I've tried to sympathize, and I've tried to explain my past to show them why. I've used all the ego functions to explain to them why what they're doing is wrong, and they still insist on hurting me. There is no option left than for me to hurt them. That's the only option. Like fucking you'll see this around the world. Like if governments are being tyrannical to the citizens, you have to go and you have to fucking kill them. There's no other way. You can't you can't do anything, right? So that's the only option. Now, my justification for hurting them back is if I hurt them back, then they will understand the pain. That will allow them to be on my level and understand
What the
where I'm coming
fuck? Yeah,
from.
that's so funny
No,
because
no, 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 no.
wait,
Listen.
wait, I want to say because Sasuke says that now you understand my pain, or
Yeah.
Dobby says I want you to understand my pain. Like all of this is like I want you to understand my pain, and only once an ENTP has said that you somewhat have felt their pain, do they like actually like receive you. It's kind of funny.
When you've understood my pain, then you know why I care about you not hurting me.
Yes, pretty cool.
Mhm.
Hey Zara, anything, man?
Where do what do you think is your like current life philosophy at this point, or your current trajectory?
It's a very, very broad question because I have absolutely millions of them.
Hmm.
Um,
How do you decide what you allocate your times towards, I guess, is my question.
Okay, well, if you asked me 2 years ago that question, I would
Hmm.
not have given you an answer I would have been proud of. I would have said I'm a dilettante who jumps from thing to thing trying to find
Hmm.
myself. But
Yes.
because I have spent so much time trying to figure out how to tap into the other seven functions than just any all the time, thanks to Mercer's videos, I have sort of hacked into SI and NI in a sense. Now, Mercer wouldn't like this, but I think how I've done this is by using NE. Because after you exhaust all your options, you realize you don't have many options left that are actually good, then to just do your fucking work. Like if if you can look at yourself in an abstract way, not as someone who only exists for another 5 seconds, in which case
Hmm.
you will always be interested in just indulging in the moment, but as someone who will live for another 80 years, who is a long-term project who you need to kind of pin down now, then it gives you perspective to say, okay, I it doesn't matter how many amazing possibilities there are in the world. It doesn't matter how life-changing my next discovery could be. The discoveries are going to come naturally over the next, and I have the privilege of saying this because I'm still young, so I have a lot of
Hmm.
time. Okay. The discoveries are going to come naturally throughout my life. Okay. But if I cannot sit down and I cannot do my work for X amount of hours a day, I am useless, and the possibilities that I seek are not going to happen. Okay. That is the callousing of the mind I am trying to do right now. And if I can give myself a bit of an ego boost, I would like to say that that is how you master SI. ISTJs and ISFJs a
Okay.
lot of the time have not mastered SI. The reason I say that is because SI is the only way of life for them. They don't see the possibilities that I see.
Hmm.
So they're stuck to it. Whereas if you are someone who knows all the different things there are in the world, has every reason to not use SI, and still sits down and is like, I'm using SI, then you've mastered your inferior. That's what I think.
All right, so I'm gonna push back there.
Yes.
So it look like you're using any, like I tell people all the time, people use the hero function to try to they push into the hero function more to try to work on their inferior function instead of just going
Yeah.
straight to the inferior function.
I understand.
So that's funny to see. I've noticed that. That's noticed that in real time. And
But
then
I think that happens because you don't have any better tool than your hero. Your hero is the smartest function that you have, you know.
the woo,
That,
it's got the woo over you. You know, it's got the woo.
What
But
do you say?
but it knows
Would
what
you
it's doing, so
would you say your life philosophy is still a bit Epicurean?
yes.
Okay.
Which is typically, if I understand an SE perspective, a lot of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, indulgence, hedonism.
But I want to do things that are conducive to my long-term ability to
Yeah.
indulge.
How
Mhm.
do you
it
how
sounds
do
like
you
Devin.
how do you reconcile the two impulses?
You create a system
Okay.
which will guarantee you that, and then you abide by it like it's the Bible.
Hmm.
And because you sit down and you say to yourself, if I cannot abide by this for I go to, you know what, SI 101. Let's get into it. If you go on Instagram and you open up a reel
Yeah.
and then you scroll on a reel thinking, it's just one reel, it doesn't really matter. What's going to happen is 2 hours later, you're still going to be doing that because your excuse will not have disappeared. The only single way you can stop yourself from endlessly fucking yourself in every department of life is to say, no, I'm not doing that, no matter what, the end. Do you agree?
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, it
I'd have to
makes
look into it more. You know how you can like speed through shit, Henley. Uh,
well,
I
I
have to
mean,
look
it is
into
I'm
it
just
kind of
more.
like
laying out the framework
I mean,
for
it is kind of like it is deterministic, the model, like the algorithm for voice you into, but
Mhm.
you do have a choice in a relative sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now ask me some TI and some FE questions.
Okay. So I also want to ask this first. Like for me, I've always said that I think ENTPs are the least systematic of the systematic types. Can you explore why you think that could be true or why it couldn't be true?
I need a. I haven't thought about this one too much. If you give me a second, I'll think about it.
Well, I think because of the NEs always chasing the novelty, that they will just abort systems.
Yeah,
No,
because it's the opposite of SI.
yeah.
But at the same time, because we are looking at things from an abstract thinking lens, we kind of can't help but see that there is an ideal way to do everything. And that if you can abide by that, you should do that.
Okay. And where do you think people can find ENTPs?
At philosophy clubs or anywhere where there's like some sort of exploration of new world stuff, innovation, primarily.
Innovation. Okay. And can you explore FI Trickster for us? Because that's one that, everybody wants to hear about. Everybody wants to know about the mask wearing, why you guys are good actors, like what's going on here. We tried to get Marcus to go into it. He did pretty well, so I'm interested to see what the ENTP is gonna say about
I
it.
lost because I'm not in your server anymore. I lost what I wrote, but what I wrote at the time was perfect to describe what FI Trickster is. Um, because it's not that we don't have feelings. Like I mean, for me, I have emotions, like right now I feel pretty hyped. I'm having a good day so far. I have emotions, okay, and I know why I have them. But I guess because there are so many different ways to look at those emotions, it's very easy to diagnose yourself with a different emotion than you actually have. And the reason why that is a constant temptation for me is because some emotions are just stupid and you just don't want to have them. Like suffering, for example. There's no pleasure in suffering. Okay. There's just none. But if you can say, well, if I just think about something nicer, or if I reinterpret the suffering I'm going through to a different experience and I see things bigger picture, then eventually I'm happy and I'm not suffering anymore. You see, so it's almost like there is no such thing as what you're actually
So you just flip it.
embodying.
So you just flip the emotions.
Yeah, because you're able to do that. You're also able to do that
I don't
with
think most
true.
people are able to do that. I mean, I think like INFP or ISFP, I don't think they can flip their emotions. To be honest, I think they're fucked with it.
They're fucked with it.
I don't,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think most people can flip their emotions like that. I think that
Well,
they
well,
have to
I
see a different perspective or with any
Like you're,
and stuff like that in the positive
yeah.
to
it's
be
almost
able to
like
flip it like,
you're jump clipping emotions in a way.
Yeah, because, well, emotions are, it's almost to me, it's like the background ambiance, you know, you're going through what you're going through, and then
Mhm.
the vibe in the background is the emotion. It's not the vibe that's defining what you're doing. Like right now, I'm sitting down having a conversation with you. I can feel whatever I want to feel, but that's not going to change the purpose of what I'm doing. And if it does try to change the purpose of what I'm doing, then it's illegitimate and it's just a bunch of chemicals that are trying to tell me, dictate my actions, you know. I'm not going to let them do that.
Okay. I got a th thing. Is it the emotions or is it the experiences that you're having? Ooh, what is it? Like, I'm just wondering here. If,
The
like,
emotions are a part of a big integral part of the human experience. So I don't know.
so is it like you're just sensitive to the experiences that you're having at all times? Is that can we say maybe that's what's going on there?
Probably,
That it's the SI part of life that
probably.
you're experiencing. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that you're so sensitive to that you're always either, you know, getting some type of experience that's good or some type of experience that's bad.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
well, the primary thing that dictates my emotions is my experience. You
yeah.
know, ideas don't change how I feel very much, but they change how I feel once I actually start looking at the world a different way and approaching it a different way, which then becomes SI.
Okay. And what type of advice do you have for ENTPs that are like having trouble in the world, man, or not as happy as you?
I can't answer that. Neil deGrasse Tyson has something quite smart to say. He said, if I give like one piece of advice, it's something you're going to figure out as you experience life anyway. So it's kind of reductive. Um, they just be work on your discipline and work on your NI is the best advice. Now, FI will come naturally if you care enough. I cannot prescribe FI to people. Like, say, for example, trying to get Merce to care about FI is impossible. You know, it's probably not going to be much different for you. So, but care about SI and care about NI. Yeah. And you should and figure out every reason to care about those two functions. Also, it is your responsibility as an ENTP. Every other type,
Definitely.
ISFPs, they can live in fucking fairyland all their life. Okay, they can do whatever you want. You, as an ENTP, you have to be smart. All right, you have to be the one that sits down and analyzes what's going on and figures out what to do. That's correct. I say that because whether I tell you to do that or not, you are going to try your best to do that anyway. So you might as well give it the best shot that you can possibly have. I do think it's very important for ENTPs to do what I did, spend a long, long, long time thinking. Then as you think more and more and more, then you start to figure out, oh, okay, that's what I should do. That's why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. That's why these things matter to me. And then, yeah, that'll happen naturally.
Is that the NE process, the TI
Yes.
process, and the NE?
Any processing is a luxury. It's your gift. It's your best friend.
Mhm.
Use it as much as you can without getting fired from your job because you haven't been showing up to work.
All right, well, can we explore TI, man? How do you see TI? How does it affect your NE? Is there any way we can like, get some examples of your NE to TI so
All
that
right.
people watching this, they understand it? Because a lot of people just don't fucking get it. They just think NE is there, but there's a feeding system here. And I would like you to talk about the feeding system.
Okay. Firstly, things are true because of TI. They are not true because of TE. Anyone can come and tell you anything is true. It doesn't make it true. What makes it true is the principles. Okay? Like I'll have some ENFPs come up to me and they'll be like, oh, INFJs can be Enneagram 8. And I'll be like, what the fuck makes an INFJ possibly an Enneagram 8?
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, well, I read it in this book and you can't deny the book. How can you do that? And I'm just, shut the hell up. You know what I mean? It's just so annoying, okay?
Mhm.
Hmm.
But it's annoying because if you can be objective about everything, and if you can look at the world for what it is, in a very real sense, you cannot go, that's the foundation. And you can't go wrong. Then after you have the foundation, then you can get into like, what do I feel? What do I experience? All these other things. Okay. But step one in life for a long-term success for me is look at all the options and look at which options are the correct options. Okay. And then once you have that down, then you expand off of that. If you're expanding off of, either feelings or other people's random TE or whatever, you're going to do the wrong thing and you're going to fuck up. Don't do that.
Well, I mean, there's degrees. There's a hierarchy of TE though. I mean, like empiricism
You
is
do now, yeah, yeah, you do need TE so that you have things to think
appearance. Yeah.
about. Yeah, yeah.
Like just principles blindly it can lead you astray.
Yes, yes, agreed.
Yeah, yeah. I think TE can be true because it can be measurable, right? It can be measurable.
Yeah.
You can actually measure it with TE. So I think, but I do think generally, generally saying it, I think your premise does have to be correct
Hmm.
to get the right measurements for it to be true. So
Yes.
I guess it's
Yeah,
a,
I measure with TI because TI is the process that says this is true because this, and the because this is the measurement to me.
yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. So what about FE, man? How do you see FE in yourself?
Well, when I was young, I had no FE. So that's why it was hard for me to believe for a long time that I had FE child. I don't know what happened to me 2 years ago, but just I randomly started to get it. I think it was because I spent such a long time dating an ISFP. It kind of gave me no other choice because she would constantly get hurt about things. And so for me, I had no choice. If I wanted to get along with her, I had to see her problems. And they made no sense to me. And I would sit her down so often and I'd be like, can you please logically or anyway explain to me why this is the problem for you? And they can't do it. I'm telling you, they actually don't know why they feel what they feel. They just feel it, but still the feeling is so important to them that if I don't abide by them, then they don't want to have anything to do with me and they're going to go off the rails and whatever. So then it what happened was it actually started to bleed into NE for me because it becomes like, what is their perspective? And I understand because I have feelings based on my perspectives. So they have theirs, and it's not their fault that they have theirs. So therefore, it's my obligation as a human to be understanding of what theirs is.
Wow, wow, you're a nice guy, man.
Thank you.
You're a nice guy, Henley.
Not
Okay.
a lot of ENTPs are like this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got a good head on your shoulders. I think you know you haven't been tainted by the world, is what I would say. A lot of ENTPs, I think, are tainted by the world, maybe because their experience hasn't been as great on the planet, right?
I
Because
agree that my experience has been above average, but the thing is, when I was young, I obviously have met people who are not nice, and I've been bullied, I've had difficult relationships with people in my life, and every time I just decide it's all bullshit, and I just got to fight through it, and that's it. I'm not going to compromise who I am because other people are however they are.
okay, okay. So how does I've had this. I've explored the idea of NI and NE trying to somewhat do the same thing, but just going about it a different method. So how does it help you? Like, how does NI help you? How does it hurt you? What's something what's your thinking on NI?
NI is the one function that I've never fully grasped because I don't know when I'm using NE versus when I'm using NI. They feel the same. They're both an abstract way of looking at the world.
Hmm.
Um, NI is sort of, if you will, it's the entire point, and NE is just a means to get to the best NI. That's how I look at it. It's not a simple process. You can't, like Mercer has this idea, you can be born knowing exactly what your destiny is and you just walk and, now I'm here. For me, that's not even like in the neighborhood. Okay. I need to look at all these different things and think about things like in a million different ways. Then I'll know how to get to the what I want to do.
Mhm.
And do you ever feel like you got this sense of running out of time or something? Or does that never hit you?
It's very weird because half of me feels like I'm running out of time, and then the other half feels like I have all the time in the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is there anything?
So do you feel like does it like give you momentum that you feel like you're running out of time?
What will happen is if I am lazy one day, okay, because I've been chasing possibilities. Then the next day I
Yeah.
wake up and I look at the previous day and I'm like, I made zero progress. And then I'm like, you fucking piece of shit, you're doing nothing, you're being lazy. And TE critic will come out, okay, and then I'll get
Mhm.
fired up. And then after a few hours, then I'll see more possibilities. And I'll be, oh, but the possibilities are just so cool, they're just so amazing. And then yesterday repeats itself, and yeah, it goes on and on and on.
So you fight a little bit against lethargy.
I'm fighting a little bit against what?
Lethargy. Being
Lethargy. Yeah,
lethargic.
yeah. The thing is, okay, so I'm going to twist the language here, and
Okay, go for it.
I don't think, even though ENTPs and ENFPs are the laziest types because we have SI inferior and NI
Mhm.
opposing, we are not actually lazy. It's just that everyone else doesn't have a life. You know, it's just that simple. We are doing exactly what we want to do, and everyone else is a fucking robot and just doing things because they're being told to do it or because they feel some kind of stupid sense of duty to do it. I don't have a lot of respect for SI, naturally, as you can see. The only reason I use SI is basically because of NE and NI.
Well, also to accomplish your goals, right?
Yeah, NI.
Yeah.
Get what I want.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so what is shit, I can't think here. Um, I think we pretty much explored that. Can you give us a manifestation of TE critic and how do you see it? Um,
If someone is not being productive today, then chances are they're not going to be productive tomorrow and the next day after that and the next day after that. And they're therefore
Mhm.
a lazy and useless human being, and they shouldn't be on this earth, and or at least working for you. And if people, I almost see like using external sources without, really thinking about it. I see that as a form of laziness because you're just like sitting and then the information comes to you and you're like, okay, there's nothing going on inside here. And if nothing's going on inside here, then um you're a dumb person who
as my brother says, he cannot stand that, man. He cannot stand somebody who just regurgitates information.
you're a dumb person, and because you're a dumb person, you're going to live. I don't understand how people can live their lives being dumb. Okay. Because you're going to I'm having a difficult life and I'm very, very smart. Okay. So if people are dumber than me, how the fuck do they live? How do they do anything? Like you have no future. You have no nothing good is gonna happen to you. You're gonna keep making the same stupid mistakes because you can't think and you can't learn from experiences, and your whole entire life is fucked, and I feel so bad for you. And then I come and I try to help you, and then you're like, oh, but that's wrong because Tony Robbins said something. Oh no. I give up. You know what, just kill me. Just that's it.
I don't rate Tony Robbins as a good source.
I'm just kidding. I'm
Just
just naming
saying.
the first celebrity that
I
comes to my
mean, Tony Robbins does have a pretty good books. I mean,
I'm gonna read his books. Yeah, yeah.
his books
It's
are
just
pretty good. I'm not gonna
yeah.
lie. He puts in a lot of research. Thought vampires, a lot of like rich people. And if you can thought vampire enough, you'll see things that are consistent with the patterns, right?
Yes, but if you want a thorough answer to your question, that's not the point. The point is you need to think. Okay, you can read a million books, it doesn't matter to me because if you cannot logically know what you're doing, then your life is not going to go where it should go.
I think that's what I like about the medium of fiction, because not only are you reading the information, but you have to synthesize the elements of the characters and actually use cognitive empathy and kind of read between the lines a little. That's
Mhm.
what fiction comes in. Whereas like just reading a self-help book is just an 8-step program, essentially.
Well, I think when I read self-help program, right, when I'm reading a self-help book, right, when I'm reading it, right, and as I'm reading it, I'm taking the information in, and my brain is thinking about me doing it,
Yeah,
right? And
same
then
here.
I'm playing out a trajectory in my head of me doing that. And then once I play out the trajectory in my head, and then I see that version of me
Yeah,
that's done this for a while, and I said, that's a better version of me, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to use that. So I
for
think
sure.
when people read self-help, they don't use their fucking brains, right? When you listen to the information, right, you visualize,
Yeah.
take it, trajectory, play it out, right? If that's a better version of you, you take it. If it's not a better version of you, you dismiss it. But
Okay,
you
but
have to be able
I
to
think I
visualize
was
it in your
I think I
head,
was
which
talking
I think people don't do. It's like
yeah.
you read the self-help book, you look at the information, and you play it out in your head. Or you say, like, or you go in your brain and you look at a situation where you seen that information and it could have helped you. And then you're like, okay, now I know what I'm gonna do the next time that happens. Right? So you're basically like running simulate like you're basically
A
taking somebody
simulation.
else's life and their experiences and then inputting that into yourself so like when those simulations happen for you like they'll play out better. That's how I see it. Very NI, I know, but that's how I see self-help. I think people like read self-help and they're just like, oh, it's self, it's like, bro, you got to put action behind shit, man.
No, I agree, but I'm just
No,
talking
and
about
the reason
from a
why I say that is
thinking
because that
perspective.
that one guy's been
I was
annoying me.
talking about it from like think from a thinking perspective. That's what literature
Oh, literature.
emphasizes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just like that one guy in the group's been annoying me against the self-help stuff. So I'm like, yo, bro, that's like why you're like
Oh,
if someone that's what you're supposed to be doing. Like that's what when you listen to those books, you're supposed to be like, okay, I've been doing this and I've been getting this result. Okay, this guy says change your environment will change your life. Okay, if I change my environment, how would that play out in my head? Like, what would I stop doing if I was in that environment? And then you play out it
yeah.
like a forecast, and it's like, okay, I can see where he's coming from. But yeah, um, yeah. Henley, can you give us um,
you want to talk about SC Demon?
go for it. You want to go into it more?
Well, you wanted to at one point. Oh wait, no, I forgot we did that. We did that.
We did, but I mean, unless you want to like give us more information on it.
Well, okay, now
Can you
the
give us
weird
like because I've been thinking about like INTJs are like or NI people are usually reality builders, while like ENTP seem to be like reality restarters.
yeah.
Can you like go into that like why you guys feel like the need to like restart reality or burn the system down or
Restart reality. I love that. No, so look, sometimes it's not the person themselves that has the problem to produce. It's that the system is completely rigged. Okay. The system needs to crash and it needs to start over. All right. And the only way you can do that is by, killing a few people and doing a few things. Okay. Whatever.
Seems
So
very
that's there's
accelerationist.
no other way. There's no,
Mangione, huh?
Seems very accelerationist.
what do you mean accelerationist?
Like accelerationists believe like you have to bring on Armageddon to start anew. Like you can't work with the system, you just got to burn it down.
It depends on the system. If the system is a perfectly functional capitalistic society where everyone is lovely and whatever, yeah, then that's okay. But that's rarely the case.
Yeah.
Governments are very, very self-interested. Now, sometimes we want to be the government, we want to be the military, we want to be whatever. And the system doesn't permit us to do that. So, I mean, yeah. Now, my mom, she's an INTJ. She's building this whole AI company, okay, that will revolutionize the world. And that's great if she can do that. Number one, though, that takes quite a fair bit of work, whereas just throwing a few grenades doesn't really take that much work. And then number two is, how does she know that the world is will see that she's trying to create an independent source of truth for people and then be like, I don't like that. I'm going to stop her from doing that, you know?
Or she gets bought out by some larger company.
That makes she makes a lot of
Sure,
money.
sure. But I'm just saying, assuming she wants to
Yeah,
change for herself, yeah.
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 So is it? Do you think the TE critic is feeding into that system destroying type thing, or is there some?
I think it's SI inferior. I think it's SI inferior because we're not comfortable in the environment and we're like, nah, this has to change. I'm done. I'm tired of this. You know, have you seen that? Have you seen that video? I'm tired of this shit. That's us. Okay. So
Okay. What do you think people misunderstand about ENTPs?
ENTPs, broadly speaking, are very truth oriented at the expense of other people's feelings and all that. The whole reason we do what we do is because we believe in our heart of hearts there is no other way to live a good life full of good feeling without looking at the truth first. That's why. So it's not that we're bad people. Also, it's not our fault we don't care about your experience. That's just how we are. I don't know why I don't care about other people's experience. I really don't know. Like, I mean, I do, but only when it helps me, you know, or when it makes me think. I care about how they feel, I care about what they think, and I care about their perspective. But what the concrete details of things of what they're going through is as inconsequential to me as the color of my wall. Like it just doesn't mean anything to me. You know, it has no meaning.
Do you, do
Now, what?
do you think that's because you are so intensely feeling your own experience that like somebody else's experience isn't important because you're so busy in your own world of your own experiences?
If that were true, then ISFPs would have no empathy. But that's, you know, just because you feel something deeply doesn't mean that other people. But no, I don't even care that much about my own experiences because it's the inferior function, you know. And so that's why I understand when other people don't really care that much about mine because I don't like when I tell them, you know, oh, yesterday I did this and that, and then I'm thinking, hang on, actually, I don't really get why the other person would even care, and I don't even care that much. So yeah, concrete details don't matter much to me because they're unchangeable, number one. They are I see them every day. It doesn't add anything interesting to my life. Um it doesn't change how much I enjoy things. This wall can honestly be any color, you know, it doesn't mean and if someone tells me their house's color is a certain color, I don't care because I'm never even there. Like it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like I don't experience it myself. So it doesn't change how I experience the world. Now, ultimately, you want to get to a point where you're chill and you're present with reality and you enjoy everything that's around you. Okay. Yes, that is true. But the best way to get to that point is by starting with NE and seeing all the different possibilities and the different ways you can decorate your house and the different experiences you can have. Then, after you've had your big success, then you can chill out when you're older and just like enjoy things as they are. That's how I look at it.
Okay. And can you give us the difference between an ENTP and an INTP? What are some of the stark differences that you've noticed?
INTPs are the ones that I've met. They seem to lack a life, to be honest with you. Their life seems to be staying home, reading books, doing nothing. Um, But then when you ask them questions, the answers are like so thoughtful, it's as though they've lived like a million lives before this one, essentially. You know, they're very interesting people. But because they have such a lack of SE, they're basically like us, but without the spice, without the people skills, without the life experience, without all that sort of stuff. Even though they have SI in a higher spot than us, they have not gone through what ENTPs have gone through. If you ask them personal stories about themselves, they don't really have a lot there because they haven't gone out and done stuff, you know.
They haven't really experienced the world to
No.
what that an ENTP is.
So that's also you and I have talked about this before because they have SE Trickster, even though they're so brilliant in their minds, their practical awareness is so bad, it's as though they're dumb in some ways.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like a lot of stuff doesn't mesh the way it should because a lot of they have no practical intelligence. It's all abstract reasoning.
Mhm.
But so you got to be very careful when you listen to them when it comes to any type of practical information. They really struggle with that. But yeah, I was just
They're also very difficult to listen to and they're very difficult to follow. For me, when I talk, I'm keeping you engaged. I'm
I think
animated.
that, but I think that's the FE child though. I think the FE child is the reason why you can keep people engaged because you know how to put language in it to make it more appealing to other people, while as they like kind of just spit TI.
They're spitting TI, but there's no
You see what I'm saying? Like you're putting emotions into the language so that it people accept it while they just spit TI and this because there's a imbalance between TI and FE while there's a balance between TI and FE with you, right? Because it's the parent and the child versus the hero and the inferior. The hero's like constantly always on, and the inferior is just getting squeezed. So when they speak, they're just spitting TI. While you kind of balance back and forth by saying like TI, but then putting on an appeal to emotions to why people will be interested in what you're saying, or like you make it more interesting, or you put flair on it, put more charismism.
Yeah, charisma.
charisma.
You put more charisma to your
He's
words.
much, yeah, he's
Um,
charism. Yeah, ENTPs are more charismatic for sure,
so then
But
like
then
the message get home.
and animated. They have a flair.
and the thing is though, with that logic, then that would mean that INTJs are less captivating, but INTJs are more captivating than INTPs are.
I think it's because of the FI child that they put on their language.
Yeah,
Um,
the values behind
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I always thought it's because of SE.
Mm,
Mm,
Because for me, I look at other people who are animated when they talk and that captivate me. And then I think to myself, what are they doing that's captivating me? And then I feel like this draw to kind of emulate them, and
yeah,
that's how that happens.
I think for an INTJ that a lot of times they're boring unless they're very passionate about what they're talking about.
yeah,
Once they're passionate about what they're talking about, then all the flair comes with it. But if they're just talking about some meaningless everyday thing, I think it's kind of robotic from them. But
Okay. INTPs, though, if they spent a little bit of time looking at other people talking that captivates them, they should be able to emulate them to some level, but they just don't. I don't know why.
yeah, I think they think they can
Cogn
EI their FE.
it's cognitive processing more than mirroring, using their mirror neurons
I know,
essentially.
but when you communicate to other people, you need to, give
Yeah,
it something.
but that's why you got to practice building up your mirror neurons, obviously, because then you can start being able to look at how other people are displaying themselves, and then you could come off a little more charismatic.
Yeah.
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 Um, can you give us the difference between ENTP and ENFP?
Well, that's one that I don't know too well. Um, this is going to be so mean. This is going to be so harsh. ENTPs are smarter. They just are, we because ENFPs they don't really think things out like we do. But the sad thing is they actually want to. They really do, It is important for them to know things deeply, because they have TE child, they have any hero. But just I don't know, just something about them limits them from really seeing what we do. The plus side to being an ENFP, though, you told me yesterday was they're more concerted, they're more composed, and they have a control over, you know. But then also, I've noticed that a lot of them make drama out of little things as well.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Could be the SI there. But I think the overall difference for me when I'm looking at them is that ENFPs don't notice they don't have the depth of information. Like what I like to call ENFPs are a walking shallow library of Alexandria. Right? They can give you all
Yes.
this random shit, but if you ask them to like
If
go
you
deep
ask them
into
about
it,
it, they can't do it.
they
Yeah.
can't do anything. It's kind of like poof. And you're like,
Yeah.
well. how do you know this is true? And it's just like, well, check the source, or like they'll regurgitate something else. Like there's no depth inside of the thinking.
Yeah. They don't really classify anything.
Yeah, it's just like they just suck it down and
And they
spew.
don't
It's like the walking shallow library at Alexandria.
Yeah, they don't really narrow down on the information. They lack depth in it. And then it's like they don't make like Aristotle's conception of like logic was like classification and then distinction. And so to have complete logic, you have to be able to fill both of those propositions.
Yeah.
So until but like an ENT with an ENFP, for example, they don't do this because what happens is they just take the shallow information, the
Mhm.
data, but they don't extrapolate like the causal and the cause and effect and whether it is causal, and that's where they lack
Yeah.
severely.
Yeah. I just noticed that like they'll just say a lot of stuff to look smart or something that
Yeah.
they think people would like to hear.
Hmm.
But like I said, it's very surface level. Um, or like, it's like the cold plunge shit, Christian's brother-in-law was very big on the cold plunge, and it's like he was just noticing that it was popular, right? He didn't notice like what's really going behind it from the science perspective, right? He's
Hmm.
not looking into like, okay, what's really going on here in the body mechanisms? Like, does this actually work? Is it really doing anything?
How
He
effective it
just
is.
he just
Yeah.
seen that, everybody else was saying it on TV, the experts were saying it, people were saying it, but he didn't really look at the literature behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would say is the big differences there. But I do think what they both do, ENTPs and ENFPs, is they are here to challenge perspectives and give you a lot more options than you thought were possible.
Mm.
That's the amazing thing about these guys. Like it like a lot of people, and I hate to draw this person in, but Adolf Hitler, a lot of his generals was like, "Yo, Hitler, we can't do this," right? But Hitler saw the possibilities that what you could do, right? And he told his generals to do it, and they were able to do great things earlier in the war because of that, right? Because his mind thinks differently. The possibilities are there, right? Things that people never considered. They're like, "There's no way we could do this." It's like, well, have we thought about this idea and this idea, this idea? You know? So like it's very innovative is what I would say. And they challenge people to see a different perspective. And I think once people interact with them, whether it be an ENTP or an ENFP, they will see the world a little bit different. Right.
Hmm.
I think when I talk to Henley sometimes and I have ideas, and then he challenges those ideas, and then he makes me see a different perspective. Then I say, "Oh shit, let me slow up. Okay, let me look over here now, look over there," and it's like, "Okay, let me bring that into my model," and now I have a more complete model um, instead of just missing a perspective.
You
So.
see how any makes NI better in that way?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's a good thing. I mean, I like that, because a lot of times I have ideas and or like a perspective, and I'm like, okay, or maybe I jump to a conclusion, and then it's like, oh, Mercy, bro, you could be too dogmatic about this shit and all this other
I
shit.
say that a lot.
You're the most dogmatic person I've ever met.
Yeah.
And like, oh, blah, blah, and then I'm like, okay, well, let me see what this motherfucker's saying. And then I look at it and I'm like, okay, does this motherfucker have a point? And then I look at it and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should be a little bit more looser on that. Okay. And it changes my perspective of things. And then I come back and I'm like, okay. And it helps me over time, helps me over time. So I'm thankful for that.
Hmm, my pleasure. Do you
Uh,
have any
any,
other questions?
anything you want to get out, Henley?
I have this theory that I'm working with, which is that the opposing is actually a primary motivator of us.
Yeah. You remember I told you, I mean, I haven't put it out yet, but I'm really working on a package that talks about the depth and the processing speed of functions. And I do have the opposing. The speed isn't as fast, but the depth to it is really good, Because once the opposing tells you something, a lot of times you listen to it. For a ENTP, it can make them burrow into one way of seeing things on a specific idea. You know,
Yeah.
and sometimes they could be a bad possibility that they see. Like sometimes when they're SC demon, only they can only see the NI opposing bad thing that will happen if they don't do something. So
Oh
they,
yeah. So the cool thing about ENTPs, another thing that people don't understand about us, when we see a possibility, even if it's a stupid possibility, we're still gonna like believe it as though it's TI, you know? And until you can prove us wrong,
that's a
pretty
fallacy.
yeah. No, but like it's not that we 100% believe it, but we operate under the belief that it's true.
Y'all
Until
operate under the belief that if you can't prove me wrong, then it must be true, type thing, and that is a fallacy. I forget what that
well,
is.
yeah, but in practical, how it um manifests practically is that over time you're going to have all these ideas and then they're going to be proven wrong, 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 and then you're going to be left with the best ones at the end.
Yeah, yeah. You're trying to let other people TI your NE. Funny, huh?
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. Henley, I'm about to go get some food. I'm gonna get this video up. Catch you guys around. I'm gonna get some food. But all right, Zara, any last thing?
Not really.
All right, well, all right, Henley, man. It was a pleasure, man. Inside the mind of an ENTP. Peace out, man.